All right, Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops, the great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, to the men on the highways and the byways that are pushing out this word in truth and sincerity, and to the remnant men, women, and children of the elect. To you all, I say Shalom. My name is Amour, Ahyash, and I'm back with another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahawah, Yahawashi. Lord willing, this is edifying. This is going to be a land back video to the elder bro you see on the screen, the elder brother Amour from our camp in New York City. He did a short that's entitled Grab Your Armor, and I literally just watched it, and it actually tied into a lesson that I was preparing to do. So it was just sort of like the perfectness of the spirit, man. The spirit, just, ties things together. We bounce off one another through the spirit with these lessons, man. And, I just want to use this, as a way to just, send out the, that consistent warning that we send out to the body, to the brother, to the elect, those who are listening and learning to one another, as hopeful members of the elect, whether you are, a brother, the servant, a prophet, a man that's in the camp, a listener, a believer. These warnings go out to one another. It's important for us to stay in the spirit. His lesson is entitled "Grab Your Armor." And this is to forward and continue to warn, the elect of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the nation of Israel, to grab your armor and get ready, get prepared. Okay, grabbing your armor represents, a battle, a war that we're in. Okay, a spiritual war that we're fighting. Okay, because we're leading into 2026, and that's the spirit. Because as I scroll down, the elder bro just also did another video 6 hours ago entitled 2026. What do you see? All right, so. And that's also the spirit. Look at the time on his lesson, 41 minutes, 41 seconds, 144. So, hey man, just all through the spirit. Hey, and it's 11:44 right now. Hey man, it's all spiritual, man. It's all spiritual. All right, so, yeah, man, I just wanted to land back off the brother's video, the elder bro's video. I'm gonna play his short. Again, it's only 1:16, but again, it's to continue to forward the warning, the message, so that the elect can take heed, because we have less than 6 weeks. We got about 5 weeks. We got about 5 weeks left in 2026, and in 2026 has been a hell of a year for prophecy. Esau Edom's rolling out that new world order system. We see it. Things are happening in the spirit, and 2026, man, we are preparing for things to get that much more chaotic, troubling. Jacob's trouble could absolutely be full-fledged. The MOTB could be rolled out, and the next thing you know, we could be out of here. The missiles could start flying soon thereafter, and that's the hope. But again, like the elder mentioned, grab your armor. I'm gonna play this video and I'm gonna go into these precepts.
Grab your armor. The evil day fastly approaches. The book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. As you read into the rest of this chapter, it gives you the examples of what the whole armor of Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi entails. Armor which is used to defend you during battle. It's all spiritual in these times. As the evil day fastly approaches, which is Jacob's trouble, TF, martial law being declared, the devil coming down with great wrath, knowing that he hath but a short time, famines, plagues, pestilence, and the coming of our Lord. That's all the evil time. And there's only one way to prepare for these evils. Gird up and grab your armor. That's today's daily verse. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashim Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. And salutations to the elect.
Okay, so grab your armor. All right, so grab your armor. Grab your armor. Grabbing your armor, again, is to defend yourself. Okay, when you have a shield, you're defending yourself. I mentioned that I was preparing a lesson, and it's kind of tied into it, because what we're seeing in these last days, and again, the only defense that you have in that evil day, because the elder bro mentioned the evil day, the only defense that you have is the covering of Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi. The evil day represents prophecy in times, perilous times, that cannot and will not be endured unless the Spirit of the Lord is with you, unless Yahweh Bashim is covering you, unless you're a part of the elect. Okay, so the message, the armor up, the grab your armor is to the elect. Okay, and one of the things that we have to defend against is false doctrines. Okay, and I was preparing to go into with this lesson, and I watched the elder bro's video, and I just kind of want to tie the two together, because we have to make sure that we are rooted and planted. Okay, scriptures say, be fully persuaded in thy own mind. Right, you have to be fully persuaded about what the truth is, about the true doctrine. Okay, and what your spirit is connected to, the doctrine that your spirit is connected to. Okay, because false prophets shall arise in the latter times, and here we are in the latter times. Right before some major prophecies happen, you have to make sure that you're connected with the body. Okay, Yahweh Shema Shai set up the prophets, his men, to preach the true word, to preach the truth. Okay, regarding his word, the truth regarding prophecy and what's to come and what we have to defend against. So grabbing your armor is so important, because what are you defending against? Okay, and just knowing that you're Israelite is just not enough. Okay, understanding that you're an Israelite, this is Babylon, Esau, Edom, these things. All right, cool, you know that, but what are you defending against? Prophecy states Jacob's trouble is going to be a time like never before seen on the earth. So therefore, you have to make sure, that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. But that wisdom and knowledge, it has to be the truth. Okay, can't be any wayward doctrines. Can't be any of that. You have to make sure you're on point. Now the elder went into the book of, let me get the precept that he had, which was Ephesians 6. Oh gosh, hold on. Let's lock it. What is it? Yeah, Ephesians 6. Lock it. Ephesians chapter 6. And he started in verse 13, but I'm going to start at 11 and read down to 13. Okay. You see in verse 10, start at 10, Ephesians 6:10. You see the caption, this is the armor of the Most High. Okay. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, Bashim Yahawashi, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. The wiles of the devil, a part of the wiles of that devil is all of his enchantments, all that Esau sets up in these last days to steer you away from the truth, whether it's false prophets, Christian pastors, because our people are in droves in these Christian churches and different religions, and these are the things that Esau set up. So you have to make sure that you have to stay. The wiles of the devil are all things that Esau set up. This entire beast system is a part of the wiles of the devil. So everything that you see here, and I'm talking about from, the money system, because how people covet money. Scriptures say the root of the love of money is the root of all evil. The way Esau sets up and has had people striving and pushing and sacrificing their, everything just, for money, and they're on a paper chase, and they look at success, and they look at money in a way, like all of these things are the wiles of the devil, the way it's set up, whether it's from social media or the chase for women, the chase for money, the chase for status, whatever it is, man. How society is set up to cater to your flesh, and every day is, all you doing is looking to please your flesh. This system is set up. These are the wiles of the devil that have to put your armor, put your armor on to fight against. Verse 12 says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And this man has all types of spells and rituals and enchantments, things that are set up, to deceive you, So we're not fighting against flesh and blood. We're fighting against a spiritual power, the spiritual demon Satan and his counterparts Esau, Edom. Okay, and then that filters down to the other nations, and even 2/3 of our people who are part of the wicked. Okay, who rebel against the will of Yahweh by Yahawashi. All right, verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, you're that evil day, man. Jacob's trouble, judgment shall begin at the house of the Lord. Salakia, judgment may begin with the nation of Israel. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. There's some heavy judgment coming down, known as Jacob's trouble, and you have to make sure, amen. A time like never before on the earth. You better make sure you are, on point. Make sure you serving the Lord. Make sure you sincere. Making sure you sacrifice. Making sure, you put off this world, man. Because that shit gonna bite you in your ass in these last days. All right, let's get through these precepts. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. And again, this is about putting on armor. All right, 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And I mentioned earlier that I was trying to put this lesson together and just, and to make sure, because part of the devices, Satan's devices, is false doctrine, right? He will easily pay off an Israelite group or an Israelite camp, a Christian pastor, and have a whole false doctrine out there to lead people astray, and we're not ignorant of those devices of Satan. You got men out here now teaching all types of wayward doctrines in Israel. Gentile salvation. John the Baptist fell out the truth. The MOTB is something other than the C-hip. Not pushing and forwarding the names of Yahweh Shemel Shai, telling you Paul, the letters of Paul are not authoritative, telling you ain't gotta worship Yahweh Shai. You name it, man, it's out there. These are the devices of Satan, okay? Because these men have demons on them, and it's Satan that's steering these men's minds, okay? Whether it's to sell out, just to teach full doctrine, do whatever, man. And you have to make sure you put on that full armor so it doesn't happen to you, okay? You got other elders, even the elder Amour Gabar, he went into pre-Sabak, the elder, pre-Sabak, he made a video about those Genesis brothers, and he mentioned, just really not necessarily making excuses, but, just, not rebuking in the way an elder should, being passive, all right? Not setting an example, not setting the stage for the times that we're in, and making sure brothers are on point. Just, talking about wordplay and talking about things that aren't relevant to the conversation. It's really just about rebuking. Those brothers are going off saying, what salvation is and what it's not, and just, it's wordplay, and you got to make sure, like, nah, there's only one type of salvation in the scriptures. All right, there's not salvation for the elected nation of Israel, and then salvation for the nations where they're just servitude and this, that, and no. There's only one salvation. There's only one kind of salvation that's written in the scriptures. Okay, there's not a separate form of salvations for the heathen nations where they're just being servitude, and that's their form of salvation, not being destroyed on this side, but being servant. No, that's not salvation. All right. And again, these are all Satan's devices that we have to make sure that we don't get caught up in. All right. Let's go to 2 Timothy. Make sure you guard up against false doctrine, man. Second Timothy 4:3, it says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts they heap." It's like, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, man. You know what I'm saying? So sound doctrine is going out the window because the spirit of Yahawah is not with them. They don't have on the full armor. All right, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. Yeah, because those lusts of the flesh are the lusts that have them in the spirit that they're in. You know, because they'll be willing to sell out. They'll be willing to, take a bag, or take some carnal status, or whatever you want, however you want to call it. You know, they'll be willing to allow their lust to control and drive and steer their actions in these last days. And if you aren't rooted in Yahawashi, you'll get caught up in it. All right. Verse 4 says, "And they shall turn their ears away from the truth and shall be turned unto fables." Yeah. All right. Rejecting the truth, rejecting, what the spirit is truth, the spirit of truth. All right. Which is who? Which is Yahawashi. But then again, these men don't worship Yahawashi. So, what do you expect? Right? What do you expect? Let's keep going. Proverbs 24. I may not get through all these precepts because the point is being made. Proverbs 24:21. "My son, fear thou the Lord Yahawah and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change." And when you see men, you see in these last days, men are switching up the doctrine, changing up the truth, changing up the doctrine, changing up what they've been taught, changing up everything, man. They remixing everything. They are remixing everything. And through the spirit, I don't think they're done. Now all of a sudden the garden, the serpent in the garden is a Canaanite man. It's a Canaanite man. And it's not connected to Satan, not connected to the devil. That old serpent. Okay, that's written about in the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter. Now all of a sudden it's something different. The lake of fire is an actual lake. Over there in the Middle East somewhere. This is what we're seeing and hearing from men. Okay? But it's not for no reason. Okay? Because again, prophecy says that false prophets will arise in these last days. Latter times they'll take heed, to seducing spirits. And again, they don't worship Yahweh. So what do you expect? You know what I'm saying? What do you expect? Let me see. Where we at? Let me see. Proverbs 24:21. And it reads, "My son, fear thou the Lord Yahweh." Oh, I just read that. It's a little late. Slacky. Let's see, 14. Proverbs 14:15. What does this one say? It says, Proverbs 14:15. The simple believe of every word, and you don't want this to be you. This is what we mean by put on the whole armor. Gird up your loins. Be fully persuaded in your own mind. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability at times. Okay, you can't be caught by these false prophets, by these men who aren't sincere about serving the Lord, serving Yahawashi, but they want to serve themselves. That's their main goal. They want to be put on the pedestal. They want to be praised. They don't want Yahawashi to receive the glory. It's all about them. And that's for many of these camps, not just the Genesis Israelites. We're seeing the Lord exposing these men. The truth is coming out. All right? You can't hide but for so long, And that's the message. The simple believe every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. All right? You see it in the NLT. Only simpletons believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. And that's what the hopeful elect is doing in these last days. Considering our steps, considering everything that we, that is actually taking place. The doctrine that we believe in. We consider it fully, we carefully consider the doctrine. Look up these things, make sure that they're true. Considering the things that are going on around the world that happen in the news, things that are being reported that we have to connect to prophecy. Okay? A prudent man will looketh well to his going. Examining ourselves, making sure that we're right. Examining our households, making sure we're right with the body, making sure everything is, making sure everything is working through the Spirit. We have to carefully consider these things, right? But the simple is going to believe every word. The simple is going to go along with these men and say, yes, it's just salvation for the Gentiles. Oh, that, okay, cool. I always felt that it could be, well, and if you stay around these men, if you continue to, follow these men, you're going to get burnt. You're going to feel the wrath just like they are. Simple. Let me get two more. Might as well, since I'm here. Ephesians. This is the book of Ephesians. Where we at? Ephesians 4 and 14. And it reads, for if we believe that Yahawashi died and rose again. Oh, where am I at? It's like it. Ephesians 4 and 14. It says, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. And that's what I mean about being rooted, being planted. Okay, because you don't want to be tossed to and fro, carried about with every wind of doctrine. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person. Okay. Or do I believe this or do I believe that? Or what is he saying? Can I, you just gonna bug out that way. You gotta be rooted. You gotta be planted. You gotta be fully persuaded in your own mind, so that these things don't take you when they come about. You gotta constantly pray to Yahawashi to keep you connected to the absolute truth. Keep you connected to Yahawashi, to the body and the servants and the prophets of Great Millstone. Starting with the elders and apostles on down, man. That's me, man. Ain't nothing wrong with praying for that. Ain't nothing wrong with praying to stay amongst the truth in the body. That's a good thing. All right, it says, and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Okay, you watch these men, they lie in wait to deceive, and a lot of them just want to build their congregations. That's really a lot of what we see from these congregations that call themselves Israelites. They're lying in wait to deceive. The men of Great Millstone, we're not asking you for nothing. Again, the elders and apostles, they're not asking for you. If you want to donate, pay tithes, then great. Which you should be, because that's, we're commanded to do so. But you don't see the apostles or any men of Great Millstone posting their cash apps, posting their banking information or where you can send them money, It gets posted. It's on the page. If you want to send money in, send money in. But you not being pressed to do so, right? You damn sure ain't being begged to do so, right? But if you're a true believer and you believe in Yahawashi, and you know, and you want to support the ministry, that's a beautiful thing. May Yahawashi bless you for that. You know. But this is the times that we're in, man. Make the sacrifices necessary so you can be delivered. Okay? Get into this thing, man. Be a part of this thing. Put on that full armor, man. If you in the city where there's a camp, man, find your way down to the camp if need be, man. You know what I'm saying? Do what you gotta do, man. This ain't the time to be playing. This ain't the time to be slacking. This is the time to be on fire. Like the elder apostle Tahar always says, this is the time to be on fire. You know? And I'm speaking to myself first because, you know, when you cross that line, when you get into that camp, man, there's a different level of responsibility that's put on you, and there's a different standard that's set up for you, and you know, you got to step up to the plate and do your thing. You know, the elect is counting on these lessons. The elect is counting on the brothers doing this work. You know, going out in the highways and the byways, presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice, and doing what we got to do in the spirit for the elect, for the sake of the elect. That's what it's about. You know, so put on that full armor, man. Last one, let me get this and close out. This is Acts 5 and 38. 38 and 39, I'm going to read this. Actually, let me just get it in the letter. Acts 5 and 38 through 39. Acts 5 and 38, it says, "And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught." Right? And you want to make sure that, again, you are listening and learning from the true prophecy. How about Shemal Shai? You have to refrain from these men who are given a change. Refrain from the men who are being seduced by these evil, wicked spirits, making them come up with these wayward, false doctrines and teaching them. You know, got Jake going off, got Jake confused, don't know where they, you know, where they coming or going, tossed to and fro. This is why you have to refrain from these men. The scriptures say, mark these men that cause divisions. Right? You got to mark them that cause divisions. You know, half of the congregation believe in this, the other congregation believe in that. You so-called believe in the MOTV, but you ain't pushing that. You do 3.5-hour videos on Gentile salvation, but where's the videos on the MOTV? Where's the videos? Where's the large breakdowns on the MOTV? Where's the large breakdowns on Jacob's trouble? Okay. You start a debate league. You niggas ain't serious, man, about serving the Lord. You serious about your pockets and about your status and how Jake look at you. But the Lord got something for you guys, man. All right, now I ain't even finna spend too much time on that, but it's just, hey man, you gotta put on the full armor, like the elder Amour Gabar said, man. All right.
Grab your armor.
One time.
Grab your armor. The evil day fastly approaches.
Grab your armor. The evil day is fastly approaching, man. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. By Shemal Shai, by Shemakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, the elder bishops, the great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.